let's go ahead and knock out this homework. I got the odd ones. I'll leave the even ones for you. So solve the system by substitution. So what we're doing here is taking one thing and replacing it with another. Pretty easy, right? In this case, we know y equals x minus 2. So it's a perfect situation. We can take x, right, and it will equal 17 minus, and this is going to be 4. Sorry, I started to put the parentheses first. And we're going to replace y with x minus 2. All right. You can see here, since x equals this, it's like putting this in place of where y was. All right, so now we're going to distribute our properties. We're going to take this -4 and apply it to everything in there. So now x is going to equal 17. -4 times x is -4x. And -4 times -2 is +8. Now we got to combine our like terms. 17 plus 8 is going to be 25. So now x is going to equal 25 minus 4x. Now we got to get this -4x to the other side to combine it with its like term. The only way to do that is to add 4x to it to get rid of it. Whatever I add to one side, I add to the other. And x plus 4x makes 5x. It says 5x is going to equal 25. And so the last thing to do is divide 5 away from x. 25 divided by 5 is 5. So x is 5. All right, so I know x is going to be 5. Now I got to find out what y is. Well, I could just, now that I know that x is 5, I can take this first equation here, y equals, well, if x is 5, then it's 5 minus 2. And 5 minus 2 is 3. So that means my coordinates that satisfy this linear system will be x5, y3. Let's see how we did. Solution is x is 5, y is 3. All right, I'm going to go to do number 9 now. I'm just going to erase all the ink on here. And we're going to start anew. You had number 8 to do, so I'm doing number 9. On this one, I see what x is. X is going to be 16 minus 4y. So again, I'm going to take the second equation, which is 3x. And remember, x is 16 minus 4y. And now we're going to add it to 4y equals 8. All right, so I'll distribute my properties. I'm going to have to take 3 times 16. Let's see, 16 times 3. That's going to be 18, carry the 1, 48. And then 3 times -4y will be -12y. We're adding that to 4y. And that equals 8. All right, we're going to take -12y and add it to 4y. That's going to give us a -8y. And of course, my 48 comes down. So all I did here was combine -12y plus 4y, right? And I got -8y. Now I'm going to combine like terms on opposite sides. So I'm going to subtract 48 from each side. Well, negative 48 plus 8 will give me negative 40. So now I have negative 8y is equal to negative 40. Of course, I'm going to divide negative 8 away. When I do, y comes down, and a negative divided by a negative is a positive, and 40 divided by 8 is 5. And now I know y is 5. Now I can plug x in, or excuse me, y in to one of these problems. And I think I'm going to do it to this problem up here. It seems pretty easy. So instead of being x equals 16 minus 4y, this is going to be minus 4 times 5, because y equals 5. All right, now I'm going to take a negative 4 times 5, that's negative 20. And so now we have 16 minus 20, that's negative 4. So those are my two coordinates, or excuse me, my two, this is my x and y coordinates for this linear system. Negative 4 and 5 should be my answer. Negative 4 and 5. All right. And once again, erase the ink, and we're going to go on to the next part. Number 11. For number 11, I have to rearrange this one here. I'm just going to subtract 5 from both sides. This will give me 6y minus 5 is equal to x. And now, again, I know what x is. I'm going to replace x over here with what 6y minus 5. So let's see, we had negative 5, and that's supposed to be multiplied to x. But now we know x is 5y, sorry, 6y. 6y minus 5. And then let's see, yeah, that was x. And so now we're going to add, we're going to take the second part of this. We use the negative 5, and then we replace x with what we had over here. Now the rest is plus 6y equals negative 11. So plus 6y equals negative 11. All right, negative 5 times 6y is negative 30y. Negative 5 times negative 5 is positive 25. Now we're adding 6y. And all this has to equal negative 11. Well, negative 30y plus 6y, that's going to give us, negative 24y. This is going to be added to 25. And this is going to equal negative 11. Let's see, we're going to combine like terms, so we're going to subtract 25 from both sides. Now we have negative 24y is equal to negative 36. Now we've got to divide negative 24 away. And I know that both of these are divisible by 6. So let's see here. First we have let's see, this would be negative, let's see, 36 divided by 24. Let's see if this comes up to a nice round number. 36 divided by 24. When I put a decimal here and a 0 here, I can multiply this to, I'm going to try 5 first. Oh, I'm sorry, it's going to be 1 first. I almost made a big mistake there. And that will give me 12, right? And then I can try multiplying it to 5. We'll see what happens here. 4 times 5 is 20. And look at that. That does equal 12. So this is going to equal 1.5. So that means y is 1.5. Remember, a negative divided by negative is a positive. Okay, so now that I know y is 1.5, I can plug it into any of these problems here. I think I'm going to plug it into the second one here. So I'm going to take 6 times y. Let's see, 6, and y we said was 1.5. And that's got to equal x plus 5. Well, 6 times 1.5 is 9. So 9 equals x plus 5. Now we'll subtract 5 from both sides. And 9 minus 5 is 4. So 4 is going to be equal to x. So my coordinate will be 4 in place of x and 1.5 in place of y. Let's see how we did. 4 and then 3 over 2. And 3 over 2 is a fraction. Really, I mean, 1.5, that's what it is. You could easily go ahead and argue that a negative divided by a negative is a positive. And if you divided both of these by, let's see, I would say 12. Yeah. You're going to get 3 over 2. So we used 1.5, but 1.5 equals 3 over 2, so same thing. All right, let's go ahead and go with number 13 next. So I'm going to erase all this. And number 13, well, once again, I could simply just add 5y to each side to isolate my x. Now x is going to equal 5y minus 29. All right, now I know what x is. I'm going to replace x over here with what I found. So 2 is going to get multiplied to 5y minus 29. And let's see, we're going to subtract 3y. And that's going to equal negative 9. Now when I do this, 2 times 5y will be 10y. Negative, or 2 times negative 29 will give us a negative 58. And then we'll minus 3y, and that has to equal negative 9. All right, now we're going to combine 10y minus 3y. That's going to give us 7y minus 58 is equal to negative 9. Now we're going to add 58 to both sides to combine our like terms. Now we have 7y comes down. And let's see, 58 minus 9. That's going to give us 49. And now we'll divide 7y by 7 to isolate our variable. And y has to equal 49 divided by 7 is 7. So now I can go ahead and replace y with 7. I'm going to go to the second problem again right here and say if x is equal to 5y, well, that would be 5 times 7. And that's 5y minus 29. Well, 5 times 7 is 35. Now we just have to have 35 minus 29. 35 minus 29, I believe, is 6. So x has to equal 6. My coordinates that are the answer to this linear system will be 6 and 7. Let's see how I did. 6 and 7. All right. Looks like we're off to number 15. All right, this time we've got to go ahead. We see that we have y over here, right? And we can do is we can move this over here and let us turn this to y is equal to, this would be negative 1/3 x minus 1. Right, I had to take 1/3 away from this side, 1/3 x, so I had to take it from this side. But now I know what y is. So my new problem will be 1/3 x minus 8 times y, and y is negative 1/3 x minus 1. Okay, and let's see what the rest of this is. We added y. Let's see. Let's see. Yep, 1/3 x. This was plus 8, not minus 8. Sorry. Actually, yeah, plus 8. And that has to equal 13. Okay, let's work this. Now the 1/3 x comes down. 8 times negative 1/3 will be negative 8/3 x. And then 8 times negative 1 will be negative 8. That has to equal 13. All right, now we've got 1/3 x minus 8/3 x. That's going to be a negative 7/3 x minus 8 be equal to 13. All right, now we're going to have to combine our like terms on opposite sides. We'll have to add 8. And that's going to give us negative 7/3 x is equal to, I believe that's going to be 21. All right, now we've got to go ahead and get negative 7/3 away from x. So I'm going to multiply it to negative 3/7. Its inverse. Which means I have to multiply this side to negative 3/7. Well, that crosses all this out and leaves me nothing but x here. Now I can pretend this is 21/1. 21 and 7 are both divisible by 7. 7 divided by 7 is 1. 21 divided by 7 is 3. Now I have 3 times negative 3, that's negative 9. So x equals negative 9. All right, now that I know x is negative 9, let's plug it in over here to our first problem. Our first one said 1/3 times x, and that's 1/3 times negative 9 plus y is equal to negative 1. I could have used either one of these equations. I just go with the easier one. Well, negative 9 times 1/3 is negative 9 over 3 plus y equals negative 1. Negative 9 over 3 is really negative 3. And now I have to add 3 to both sides to isolate my variable. And 3 minus 1 is 2. So that means x is negative 9 and y is 2. Negative 9 and 2 are my answers. Okay, whew, those rough ones there. You had 8 through 16. We're going to move on. Number 17 says describe and correct the error in solving the linear system 2y equals 3x plus 4 and 7x minus 2y equals 12. Well, if I solve this according to what he's saying, we're going to take 7x minus 2y equals 12. We're going to, looks like we're subtracting 3x from this side. Not quite sure why. Yeah, I don't understand why. So I'm trying to understand how they took this negative 2y and turned it to 3x plus 4. I'm thinking because over here, this says 3x plus 4. And they took this problem here, and they're replacing x with it. But you see, this was a 2y, which means they would have had to divide everything by 2 first before using this. So this doesn't work, which means this answer here wouldn't have worked. When substituting 3x plus 4 for 2y, the entire expression should be subtracted using parentheses. So according to this, they're saying that we're going to go ahead and take negative 3x plus 4 over here, and that would mean this negative gets applied to everything in here. I'm not crazy about this answer, but I do see what they're saying. Since this is 2y, what they did here is that instead of saying, normally I would have divided all this by 2, but they're saying since this says negative 2 here, they took the entire negative 2 out, right? And since this is 2y, right? So basically, here, let me show you. They took 2y that was here and replaced the whole thing with 3x plus 4. All right? That was a unique way of doing it. So now where they found 2y right over here, they replaced it. But remember, the negative was not a part of that. So they had to take this and put parentheses around it because the negative had to be applied to everything in it, which would have turned the 3x and the 4 into negative signs. This would have gave you x equals 4 at the end. And when you plugged it in, y would have been 8, which would have been totally different answers. So there was 2 ways to do that. You could have divided everything by 2 here and then replaced y, or what they did, which was very smart and clever here, they've seen this was already 2y, and they just replaced 2y with 3x plus 4. All right, let's move on to the next one. 18 is yours to do. 19 says a test is worth 100 points. Each problem is worth either 2 points or 5 points. The number of 5-point problems is 22 fewer than number of 2-point problems. How many problems of each type are there on the test? So the first one says the test is worth 100. Each problem is worth 2 points or 5. So that would tell me probably 2x plus 5y equals 100. When it says the number of 5-point problems is 22 fewer than the number of 2-point problems, you could write that by saying that 5x, let's see, this is where they said 5x plus 2x equal 100. Now over here they're saying that x plus y equals 38. And let's look at how they got that. They said the number of 5-point problems, okay, is 22 fewer than the number of 2-point problems. Okay, so excuse me. They're saying basically that let's see how do they get that. The number of 5-point problems is 22 fewer than the number of 2-point problems. So they're saying that everything is going to equal 38 because 5-point problems is 22 fewer, and so that's going to be, let's see, you've had 22 times, let's see, 5-point problem is 22, then that's going to be 22 times 2, which is 44. 44 minus 5 should be 38. Let me look at this again. Okay, it took me a little bit of finagling and figuring out that they did not write the right equations here. And because they didn't write the right equations, it would be impossible for you to come up with the numbers that they have here. Okay. Let's see what we got over here. There's no way to come up with x plus y equals 38. So what I'm going to do is show you how this was supposed to be done, because there's no way you would know this. If you could come up with this, you'd already have the answer to this. So I'm going to do something uncharacteristic here. I'm going to go against what this says, and I'm going to write out how you should do this. So the first one we had right, and that one was the one that they did have correct. 5x plus 2y does equal 100, okay? So let's write that one out. 5x plus 2y does equal 100. Now we got to do this other one, and it's saying that the number of 5-point problems is 22 fewer than 2-point. So that would mean if x is my 5-point problems, x has to equal y minus 22, right? Because this is going to be equal to 22 fewer. I could have put x plus 22, I guess, but I'm choosing to do it this way. All right. Now I can use this. Okay, x is equal to y minus 22, and now we can solve for our answer. I'm going to replace x here, right here, with all of this. So when I rewrite this, it's going to be, let's start at 5 times y minus 22 plus 2y is equal to 100. When they do this, 5 times y is 5y. 5 times negative 22 would be negative 110. We're adding 2y, and this will equal 100. 5y plus 2y is 7y, minus 110 equals 100. Now we're going to add 110 to each side. To combine our like terms and get our y isolated to this side by itself. This will equal 2100. Sorry, 210. I don't know where I got 2100 from. 210. Now I'll divide by 7. And y has to equal, well, 210 divided by 7 is 30. So now I know y is 30. I can replace y either here or here. I'm going to use the problem that I have up here. If y is 30, and 30 minus 22 is 8. So x has to equal 8. So I would get, see, 8 and 30 as my answers. Okay, I'm hoping that they came up with the same thing and they did it correctly. I'm going to go ahead and reveal my answers here. Let's see. Let me get the eraser off. Oh, there it is, 8 and 30 right there. Okay, I'm going to rewrite this over here. 8 and 30. This is the correct way to do it. This other way is, there's no way for you to come up with x plus y equals 38. I even looked to see on example 3. There's no clue there for that. So I don't know where they got that from, but that was a far leap for them to expect you to come up with that. But that was the correct way to do it. Let's see, I'm going to go ahead and erase all this. And in fact, no, I'm just going to leave this just like this because this is the right way to do it. All right, you have number 20 to do. And that's all of them. So I will see you in class for grading, and good luck.